Time for Titrat racing.
Righty, it's been a few days since I've done any taping, just trying to smash a bit out. As you can see in the background, the Range Rover is actually on the chassis. I'll give you a quick walk around, show you what I've got up to. It's obviously in the front here. We chopped another 4 inches off the front chassis. So if we have a look from the side, you can get a look at the chassis, you can clearly see that the tyres are well and truly in front of the front bar, which gives us a good approach angle in any obstacle we choose to head for. We've also centralised the cab with the block and tackle up there. So that's how we could weld these front cab chassis mounts on that I fabbed up yesterday. Just using a very tiny rubber spacer in the hope that I get more fuel instead of body roll of the cab on the chassis. I have started the back ones, got them over on the table ready to get welded on in a sec. We've spaced out or clearance rather, the wheel spaces, so we can get ourselves another 4 inches of stance sideways to give us more stability. Capped off the end plugs. Just mainly cosmetic, no real thing there. We're also going to we'll add a bar that runs across parallel with the back to square it out, and we can also give some support to the shock bar there that takes that mounts the shock absorbers up to it. As you can see from the last video, we got the 6-inch springs in, no worries at all. So yeah, all in all, she fits up pretty damn smick, as you can see from there. But cab chassis mounts of the Range Rover, obviously, and that's the Patrol. That's where the old mount used to mount off, slightly a bit further back, as you can see by that. But everything is so far, touch wood, everything seems to be lining up well. So I'm going to keep smashing it out today, get some more footage for you, and take it from there. Hopefully we can jack the cab up. Also got drop boxes arrived in the mail, so we can drop the front radius arms down a bit. So yeah, all right, I'm going to finish out these engine mounts and we'll take it from there. But progress is happening, guys. It makes it easy when you can't really go anywhere. This is part of the procedure we've got to go through of old Titrat now. We've worked out that the way we've built the cab chassis mounts and that, it's basically 6 mounts just for the cab. Captive nuts, so we can, within a couple of minutes, we can take the whole cab off. That's how the wiring is going to be designed, and the brake lines as well. Everything else is going to be quick release. So I've got to pull it out, put this on dollies, push that over to where your camera is, bring this back in, then I can finish building all the cab chassis mounts, make a good thing out of it. This is a little bit of a shot of the mount I'm making. I haven't really been filming much, it's not that most exciting thing to be watching, but basically that's the top flap. That seats nicely into the Range Rover cab chassis bracket that bolts around. Obviously we have big rubber on top of that. I bent a couple of angle plates up, cut them out. There we go, put a little kink where that finger there is on both sides. So I'm just going to weld them together and give you a look once it's done. Be able to give you a proper look then without me shaking and rattling and trying to balance everything. Alright, so today what I'm going to try and do, as you can see from there, no radius arm on that one. That actually snapped, believe it or not, just moving it around with the excavator, so it showed me how shitty it was. As you can see from there, threaded end come off, but by the marker rust you can see it's been like that for quite some time. So glad we never used that, glad it broke now. So we're changing out both of them for some second handies I've already got in the shed. The drop boxes have arrived, so I've semi got them mounted in there just with one bolt. I've got to go get my cross member from the other place, so I have to take the car and the winch over again and winch it upside down so I can quickly rip that off, give that a clean, and then I can bolt that all up, get the new radius arms in, and hopefully doing all of that, should get these springs sitting nice and neat, opposed to how it sits at the moment, all cockeyed. So we'll get ahead with that. I'm taking a break from the cab chassis mounts. They're giving me the shits. Got two finished up, minus a bit of paint, but they are really giving me the shits. I've got to finish that one off today. And as you can see, once I took the cab off, that one all broke its tacks and went out, so I've got to put the cab back on to get it all nice and neat again. And I've got to redo something with the front. I'm not happy with those. But alright, I'm going to get stuck into this front end and we'll go from there. There you go, here's a little tip for the novice. When you're trying to get your radius arm front bolts to line up after you put the back ones in, simply just use a ratchet strap like I have done there, lift the back of the pinion gear, and the whole thing will slot around and line straight up, make it nice and easy for you to put your bolts through. You told me to leave it there.
That is gonna be very fucking tight too, that one.
So you know what you're doing, Beezy?
Yeah, sort of. Not the first time I've tapped the hole.
He means that in the literal sense, everyone. Finally, I've finished the cab chassis mounts. Yeah, it took me about, I don't know, about 15 hours all up, way longer than it should have. I'll give you a quick look at it. Not that I've probably shown you 100 times already. There's the back ones, obviously both sides, all hooked up. You can see I finished plating the chassis. Yeah, again, both sides. We can see the front cab chassis mounts through there. You have to excuse the accelerator cable. And the same on the other side. These all plumbed up in there. And we did have a few dramas with the front, so we've just modified them to this setup for now. We don't know if that's legal. We'll see what they say. But that's what we got. On with the next job is, I've had to clearance that out a while ago when we were building a turbo kit for the Buick. So obviously all this bar work's got to come off of the front. Take these out, take these cross members out. They don't need to be there anymore, it's just shit. Both sides, don't think it's going to weaken it. We're going to find out either way. So chop chop, off we go. Okay, so I've just chopped out obviously this section here. When you compare it to the other side, you can still see it's there. The reason for doing that was, well, I don't need it. It was an absolute piece of shit, to be honest. When you have a look at it, you can see that there's not much strength in there. It'd been cut and welded and bent that many times that, yeah, in the end of the day, I think the best spot for that, down there on the shit pile. So, found myself a bit of rust down there. I have to clean up at the same time, but hopefully all these tag work's coming off. Get rid of all of that sort of stuff. And this bar we're lifting up, come back here. Never did quite like it, it was never quite right, but if we zoom in, you can see the bracket behind that the guard, well, what's left of the guard pings onto, and as you can clearly see, it's on the angle which slopes it towards the front. So I'm going to straighten that up and just keep cutting out what we don't need, all in the aim obviously to open that wheel arch up as much as we can and to lighten it up as much as we can too. Rightio, the quick update. Well, obviously you can see all the bar work's been cut out of the front. Sitting down on there, Callum's on his way over, so we're going to clean all that up, get all that looking neat again, so it's ready. Finish cleaning up in those bits there, where it needs grinding up, either side. There's some holes that I blew in there. Yeah, just finished cutting her out, put the round bar on, all in all. tube the front end out. Put the panels back on so it looks like a car.
Upgrade your plumbing, gas, and electrical with
Knock on one somewhere?
So there we go. Chopped her out. Welded a piece of 1mm in there. Accelerator pedal still works fine. Not that we need to worry about that because we go and drive by wire, but still plenty of room in there. Alrighty guys, so in episode 1 Reddles asked for a BF with a ZF 6-speed, and that's pretty much what he's got himself. What sort of motor and driveline are we going to stick in the Reddles, being a Ford man?
It's going to have to be a Barrow, I reckon.
A Barrow with what sort of transmission?
ZF 6-speed.
So we got all that sorted out, what he's got himself. Well, I got it. So me and Callum went and picked her up, put her apart and conversion on the back of that and stuck in the old Range Rover Patrol. But first things first, got to get the fucker in the shed. There we go. Got the big bird anchored from the roof. K&D Fabs, mate. KD Fabrication Sheds. One of the first ones he built. And look at that. So we cut more metal out, and as you can see, we finally got the mighty barrage into the Patrol. Range Rover, whatever you want to call it. But as you can see from the front, I got a bit zealous there. I think I cut a bit too much out, but we've still got the old actual bit of the firewall, so if I can trim 3 inches off of that, I can tack that and weld that back in. Then we can start building off of that. This side here is a lot better. Nice and neat, nice and close. But yeah, so tomorrow the jigsaw commences, I guess, trying to put it all back together and build a tunnel. Passenger's not going to have a lot of foot room. What the fuck, all he needs to do is hang on. He doesn't need to have to worry about where his feet are. Good luck to that, Reddles. So here we are again. I won't say jacking the cab off, I'm going to say lifting the cab off because we're sick and tired of jacking the cab off. What number of time do you think we've lifted the cab off now, Callum?
Between you and me, probably 7 or 8 times.
7 or 8, and I've done it about 3 on my own, and Reddles was participant in 1 as well. So as you can see there, it doesn't look too bad. Looks a lot better this side than it kind of did the other. But as you can see, we've still got to blend the 2 tunnels in. There's a big gap there, so we're going to cut, shut, bang, heat, weld until it basically becomes all unified one shape. That only also adds strength, but it's aesthetically a lot better for me. So my anal intensive disorder can handle it. So alright guys, I'm going to get the digger going again. We're going to pull this sucker out and yeah, then we'll start banging and clanging. And shit, but you just can't weld it, so I'll put one quick weld over it and then run over it with another one in the hope that, well, it does, it looks better. So
Okay, so what we've done, as you can see, the welding is all nearly finished on the bottom of the tunnel. We've cut a big section out of here and sort of moulded it back into place, which will still needs to be welded, of course, but the other side's coming up. But essentially, we made it fit. The barra is in. Just top section to go. We're laughing.
There we go. Pretty much done, eh, Cal?
Well, as good as it gets for today.
Good as it's get. We kept the original tunnel just for a bit of old me sort of shit, like OG sort of style. There's not much left of the Range Rover, so what we can keep, we will. All my bullshit. It was too hard to make that part, so we thought we'd keep that and just extend out from it. But
Still got to cut the back out, cover the transfer.
yeah, still got to take the back out, obviously, to get the GQ transfer in, which we were over at Metspark today and semi-pulled apart. Wasn't quite sure what part we needed to send off, as Hugs was on the phone with the customer. So we're going to head back there later on to find out some more, but in the meantime, we came here and yeah, the internals, looking pretty good. Good to say. Looks like they're done. Well, nowhere near done, but the hard bit's over. Now it's just a matter of sitting here for ages and welding them. He's down the road to get himself some safety glasses and some nice ear protection.
Yeah, about time. I'm starting to go deaf in one ear, so I thought, why not? I've only been doing this for what, 2 years without it?
Blind in one eye and he can't hear out of his other ears. Alrighty, so I've put her down on the dollies, about to push her out the way. Like I said before, we've got to cut the section out the front here. That way we've got plenty of room to get to the top of the barrow. As it is, it just fits in there as it is at the moment. But we still need to make a lid for that tunnel. So that's what we're going to be doing next. While I've been doing that, poor Beezy, he's been obviously, look at this shit, sanding these down, getting them in good enough nick so you can put a lick of blue paint on them so they come up nice and blue, I guess. Yeah, sound makes sense, doesn't it? So alright, we're going to continue on with this big girl and take it from there. Alrighty, bud, so what are we up to at the moment, or how far have we got?
So Dan and I have been busting it for a couple of weeks to cut the tunnel out and move it back to fit the barrow in there. Obviously we've had to cut the top to make it over the rocker cover and stuff. This is all moved back about 300 mil from the original tunnel. So that's almost done, it's almost ready for a lick of paint. Obviously all the inside here is done. From here you can see we've had to widen it out a fair bit. This piece is actually original, we kept that. Like Dan said, it was just too hard to make another one, but we've made all this up, tops on, again, ready for another lick of paint. And on the painting subject, springs are done, so they look better than they did before, most definitely.
I've actually got some pictures I took last night that I'll put up in the top corner to show you.
Oh yeah, before and after.
Yeah, well the after it was, but in the night, it looked pretty shiny.
Yep, engine mounts are in. We've just taken triangles on there, make it look a bit stronger, hopefully be a bit stronger.
That's a lot stronger. Thanks, Little John.
Yep.
For bringing that to our attention. And yeah, so like Callum just said, recapping, obviously this episode you've seen us about 6 times I showed you, but there's one more hit. The cab chassis mounts are all done, painted the springs, the barrow's in, the engine mounts have been made. We've sent off the transfer, which bolts onto here. We've had to send that off to Queensland, and they machine it up to fit the ZF box that goes into the GQ transfer. So, and obviously the transfer is where the gearbox is going to mount. So we can't mount the gearbox up just yet, but it's sitting central, and believe me, it's solid. It ain't going anywhere at the moment. That's just with the 2 front mounts. Alright guys, so we got to the end of another episode. Thanks for watching, if you did, I guess.
Obviously shout out to Metspark.
And TJ George from TJ Signs, as per usual, he's going to whip us up a new print for the Range Rover Patrol. Still got plenty of stuff we've got to get through. Hopefully we can get our transfer conversion go between the ZF box and the GQ Patrol transfer next. I doubt we're going to get that next episode because we've got to wait for an order to actually happen. They wait for so many people to machine them all up. But there's plenty more we've got to do, as you can see. Yeah, so we'll probably keep going with the bodywork, get all the guards done, get them all trimmed up with the new what we've cut out. Got to put a filler spot or a check spot so we can actually check the oil, because because where it all sits, it's right underneath the sill panel. So what else, Cal? Can you think of anything?
Well, we've got the swivel hub kit to rebuild the swivel
We've got the
hubs.
whole front kit, yeah, bearing kit,
Yeah.
seals, yeah.
Obviously waiting on a gearbox so you can do tail shafts, all that kind of stuff. Pretty much button up the cab for the next week. And
We also had Dougie. You would have seen a little bit of Dougie there. He was helping us out. Well, he did. He sorted out the brake lines. So the brake, we've actually got the GQ booster, as you've probably seen from the first or maybe a bit of this episode, bolted and converted into the Range Rover. So you got the brake lines run out to the back. You've got the load compensator all sorted and taken off. You also sorted out a couple of uni joints for our steering. So all our steering geometry works, nothing knuckles out, it runs real smooth. So thanks to Dougie. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the like button. I know there's 70 subscribers and each video we're only getting about 8 or 9 people hitting the like button, which means there's a lot of people that aren't hitting the dislike or the like button. So come on guys, hit the button, please subscribe, tell a friend, let's get it out there. Until then, catch you later.
leave us a comment.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Fuck you.